They say some people enter your life and lift you up, and others drag you straight to hell. For Michael Turner, meeting Lena Carter was the moment everything changed. To the outside world, she was beautiful, polite, almost angelic. But behind that smile, she was hiding something so dark that the press would one day call her the devil's daughter. Our story begins back in 2008 in Dayton, Ohio. Michael was 32 at the time, solid, dependable, and deeply loyal to his close-knit family. He came from a middle-class household where everyone looked out for each other. His sisters adored him, his parents trusted him, and to all who knew him, Michael was the kind of man you could count on. Michael wasn't spoiled. He had a steady job as a sales rep for a pharmaceutical company, and he took pride in buying his own home without leaning on family money. Independent, hardworking, and family-oriented, that was Michael. He was the sort of man who'd carry his sister's groceries, fix his dad's car, and still find time to coach Little League in the community. That same year, he met Lena Carter. Lena was striking, long dark hair, bright smile, and a way of making any room stop when she walked in. But more than that, she was persistent. She wanted Michael, and she knew exactly how to get his attention. For Michael, it felt like fate. For his family, it felt like a warning they couldn't explain. When Michael introduced Lena at a family barbecue, his parents exchanged uneasy glances. She was polite, yes, but something about her didn't sit right. No one could put a finger on it. Still, Michael was glowing, more excited than they had ever seen him. Against their instincts, his parents stayed quiet. If Michael was happy, that was enough. By the following spring, Michael and Lena were married. The wedding was small but joyful. Michael's sisters laughed, his parents beamed, and Lena, well, she played the role of perfect bride flawlessly. Michael felt like the luckiest man alive. And for a while, their life together looked like the American dream. In 2009, the couple welcomed their first child, a baby boy. Michael was over the moon. He poured himself into fatherhood, rushing home from work just to hold his son. His family adored the little boy too, seeing him as the next branch in their proud Turner line. To Michael's parents, the baby meant everything. But to Lena, it meant new leverage. Soon Lena began whispering in Michael's ear. She told him he needed to work longer hours, bring in more money, focus less on his sisters and more on his wife and child. She painted his family as meddlers, people trying to control him. Slowly, Michael started to believe her. The once inseparable Turner family began to fracture. By 2011, Michael and Lena had their second child, a little girl. But the joy of a growing family came with heavier demands. Lena wanted nicer things, a bigger car, expensive clothes, constant upgrades. Michael worked himself to the bone to keep up. But no matter how much he did, it was never enough. Privately, Michael confessed to his youngest sister that he felt trapped. He admitted he'd thought about divorce more than once. But every time, he pulled back. He didn't want to hurt his children. He didn't want to admit to his family that they had been right about Lena. So he stayed, suffering in silence, as his marriage slowly poisoned his soul. As the years rolled on, Michael's exhaustion only deepened. He worked longer hours, but Lena's demands never stopped. She wanted more money, more things, more control. The easygoing man who once loved family barbecues and weekend fishing trips now came home only to collapse into bed. The Michael his parents knew was disappearing, one paycheck at a time. By 2020, Michael's instinct started nagging at him. He noticed Lena's late-night phone calls, her unexplained absences, the sudden way she'd pull away from him. Something wasn't right. He suspected she was seeing someone else, but with no proof, he buried it deep. He wasn't ready to face the idea that the woman he married might be betraying him. Lena began to toy with him emotionally. Some weeks, she demanded a divorce, saying she was done, that Michael was never around. Then days later, she'd change her mind, acting as if nothing had happened. It was a cruel cycle that left Michael spinning. His health, his confidence, his joy, everything was fading away. Then came a summer night in 2023. Michael came home earlier than usual. As he pulled into the driveway, he spotted a shadowy figure watching the house from the tree line. When Michael stepped toward him, the man bolted into the woods. Something about the man's build felt familiar, but before Michael could get close, he was gone. Inside, Michael found Lena pale and anxious. She tried to brush him off, but when he pressed her, she cracked. She admitted she had been unfaithful. The words cut deep, but what hurt even more was her refusal to say with whom. That silence told Michael there was something far worse than he imagined. Michael did something rare. He reached out for help. He called David Ellis, his childhood best friend and now his attorney. Within the hour, David was at the house. Lena repeated her confession. Yes, she had cheated. Yes, she wanted a divorce. No, she didn't want alimony, or the house, or child support. Just out. David pushed her. Why cheat on a man who gave you everything? Lena shrugged coldly. Michael, she said, was never home. He worked too much. He wasn't fun. David was disgusted, but Michael kept calm. For the kids, he agreed to move forward quietly. The three of them agreed, divorce papers would be filed immediately. In the days that followed, Michael moved into his parents' house. For the first time in years, his family saw glimpses of their old Michael. He laughed more, ate dinners with them, even talked about taking his kids on a trip once custody was sorted. It was painful, but hopeful. A fresh start seemed finally within reach. Then came Sunday, August 27, 2023. Michael had dinner with his family at his sister's home. It was warm, easy, almost joyful. For once, he felt like life might actually be okay. But then his phone buzzed. Lena. She said the kids were begging to see him. Could he come home, just for one meal? Michael hesitated, but his love for his children overpowered any doubt. He told his family he had to leave, kissed his mom goodbye, and promised to call later. He drove back to his house, the house he had built for Lena, the house where his marriage had crumbled, completely unaware that it would be the last time anyone saw him alive. When Michael walked through the door, the house felt strangely calm. Lena greeted him with a soft smile, dressed nicer than usual. She told him she'd cooked his favorite dinner, chicken stew with collard greens. For the first time in a long time, she seemed warm, almost regretful. Michael allowed himself to believe maybe things could be civil after all. The kids were quickly sent upstairs, told to stay in their rooms. I want to talk to your dad alone, Lena said. She poured Michael a glass of wine, urging him to relax. He sat at the table, spooning the stew, unaware that every bite carried something deadly, poison carefully chosen to have no taste and no smell. Minutes later, Michael's stomach clenched in agony. He gasped, his hands shaking, his face drenched in sweat. Lena rushed to his side, feigning concern. Lie down, you just need to rest, she said, guiding him into the bedroom. Michael stumbled, fighting the pain, completely unaware that his final moments had already begun. As Michael lay struggling to breathe, the bedroom door opened again. Out of the shadows stepped Alex Rivera, his longtime friend. The same man who had once spent weekends fishing with him, the man he trusted like a brother. Now, Michael realized the awful truth. Alex was the one Lena had been hiding. Michael tried to fight. He tried to rise from the bed, but his body was too weak. The poison had already taken hold. Alex pinned him down while Lena covered his mouth. Michael's eyes filled with horror as the people he trusted most smothered him into silence. Within minutes, his body went limp. Michael Turner was gone. At 2 in the morning, Lena and Alex stuffed Michael's body into her SUV. In the trunk sat a jug of industrial acid, purchased days earlier, carefully planned. They drove out of town, down empty back roads, until the city lights disappeared and only farmland surrounded them. It was the perfect place to hide a body. Deep in the woods, they dragged Michael's body onto the dirt. They poured the acid over him, watching as his skin began to burn away. The smell was unbearable. Their plan was simple: destroy the evidence, erase the man completely. When they were done, they left him there, unrecognizable, and drove away as if nothing had happened. The next morning, Lena rehearsed her story. She told Michael's father that men from a political group had stopped by the house late that night. According to her, they whisked Michael away for a secret job overseas. He wouldn't be home for a while, she said, but he was safe. It was a lie she thought she could maintain. Days passed. Michael's phone stayed silent. He didn't show up for work. His sisters called again and again, but every time, Lena repeated the same line: "He's fine. He'll call soon." But the more she insisted, the more his family knew something was terribly wrong. Michael would never vanish without a word. On the fifth day, Michael's youngest sister received a text from his phone. It read, "Don't worry, I'm okay." But Michael never texted. He always sent voice messages. When she asked him to send a recording, the reply was cold: "Can't. Busy." That's when she knew, whoever was texting her, it wasn't Michael. Detectives grew suspicious. They traced the location of Michael's phone during those messages. The signal never left his own home. Whoever was sending them wasn't overseas. They were sitting inside the Turner house. The lie was collapsing, and all eyes turned toward Lena Carter. Police knocked on Lena's door. She answered in tears, pretending to be the worried wife. But investigators had already obtained a search warrant. As they combed through the home, they noticed something chilling: the mattress from the master bedroom was missing. And in the cracks of the floor, faint stains of blood. Then came the damning discovery. Hidden in a closet, officers found Michael's phone. It was the very phone Lena claimed he took with him when he left. The evidence was undeniable. Cornered, Lena broke down. She knew the game was over. In a shocking confession, Lena admitted she poisoned her husband's dinner. She admitted Alex Rivera, Michael's lifelong friend, was her secret lover. And she admitted together they finished him off in the bedroom, then dumped his body in the woods, burning it with acid. Every horrifying detail spilled out. But one part of the story hit the hardest. Michael, still alive, had recognized Alex as he entered the room. In his final moments, he realized his wife and his best friend had betrayed him. That knowledge, more than the poison, more than the struggle, was the final cruelty of his death. Detectives rushed to find Alex Rivera, but it was too late. He had crossed into Mexico, vanishing before police could catch him. Lena, meanwhile, was arrested on the spot. For the first time, the mask of the sweet suburban wife was gone. Now she was revealed as the cold-blooded killer she truly was. The medical examiner confirmed the grisly truth. Michael's stomach contained traces of poison. His body bore signs of restraint. And the burns across his skin proved acid was poured in an attempt to erase him. The case was airtight. Lena's fate was sealed. In court, the story shocked the community. Neighbors who once waved at Lena from across the driveway now sat in stunned silence. Reporters filled the room, their headlines branding her forever, the devil's daughter. A woman who destroyed not just her husband, but the very soul of her community. For Michael's family, there was no relief. They had lost their son, their brother, their protector. Worse, they had lost him in the most twisted betrayal imaginable. Their pain echoed across the state, as people asked the same haunting question: how could anyone do this to someone who gave them everything? And so the story of Michael Turner came to its brutal end. Poisoned at his own dinner table. Betrayed by his wife. Murdered by his best friend. Burned and left in the dirt. Lena Carter thought she could hide the truth. But the truth always rises. And that's why, to this day, people still call her the devil's daughter.